Joining us, I would assume from our nation's capital, is a gentleman. He's the Assistant Press Secretary to the President of the United States. No small job there, Mr. Ninio Fetelvo. Hey, Mr. Ninio, how are you this morning?
Hey, great. Thanks for having me on this morning.
Thank you for joining us. Obamacare replacement. No. Well, I would imagine, let's start there. I would imagine at the White House, in the House of Representatives, from the president on down, every time you guys hear Obamacare Light or Obamacare 2.0, that you guys are just wincing, right?
Well, it actually repeals all the major parts of Obamacare, from repealing taxes, repealing the government mandates on individuals and businesses, repealing the endless run of Obamacare spending. So, Obamacare has been a flawed law from the start. It's led to higher costs, fewer health insurance options for millions of Americans. And so we're going to replace it with something better than that.
Criticism from the more conservative faction of your own party say that this current, let's call it RyanCare for the sake of our conversation, that the current bill that's been introduced in the House, people on the right say that it continues the government micromanagement of health care. On the left, they're critical because they say it returns too much power to the states. Are either of those true or false?
Well, it's absolutely conservative if you look at, what I said earlier, but also, this brings back reform to Medicaid, which puts it back on a sustainable path. This will probably be the biggest entitlement reform in decades. And so this is something conservatives have been pushing for. And, as we continue to go through this process, we've had tremendous support from folks all around the country, and we're very excited to work with conservatives, work with Republicans, and work with both sides of the aisle to ensure that we create a better healthcare system for all Americans. I mean, this is something that the president campaigned for on the trail. This is something, a winning issue he had, and, why the American people elected him last fall. And so we're very confident that this is a bill that's going to lower costs and provide more care for, millions of Americans across the country.
Ninio, hope I can call you Ninio, if that's all right.
Yeah, of course.
The Congressional Budget Office report issued has some indication that this is going to cost, the new bill will cost older Americans a lot more and will be unaffordable for many older Americans, that will force them to join the ranks of the uninsured. Your response to that, is any of that accurate from that CBO report?
Well, if you actually look at the facts, history has proven time and again that the CBO has totally been incapable of accurately predicting how healthcare legislation has impacted healthcare coverage. If you look at in 2013, the CBO estimated that about 24 million people would have coverage under Obamacare in 2016, but they were actually off by about 13 million people. That's over 50%. And right now, as less than 11 million people are actually covered. And so, the CBO has many flaws in regards to health care. It also only scored the first prong of our three-prong plan to repeal and replace Obamacare. And I'm not sure if you're really familiar of how this ultimate plan is working, but it's three prongs. The first one, which the CBO scored, is repealing and replacing Obamacare on its own. That doesn't include the regulatory relief or reforming healthcare through additional legislation, such as allowing health insurance to be purchased across state lines. It doesn't allow for Americans to use the money in their HSAs to pay for mental health costs. And so this is just another example of how, the CBO has been flawed in this. And we're very confident that this is actually a great thing for the American people, is the American Healthcare Act.
Ninio, a clarification, if you would, because I'd read a couple of different articles that say about insurance companies being able to sell across state lines. In the current bill, can insurance companies sell across state lines? I had heard as late as last night that that's not part of the bill because it could never make it through the reconciliation process on the Senate side. What's the truth?
So the health insurance across state lines, that's actually going to be part of the third prong approach of reforming healthcare through additional legislation. So this is going to come in the third prong of the overall process to create this better healthcare system of all Americans. And so it's not going to be part of the reconciliation bill, but it's definitely going to be part of additional legislation put forth in the third prong.
Do you think at that point you'll be able to get senators, the Democrats in the Senate, to go along because they will be sort of, they'll have painted themselves into a corner. How can they say no to helping the American people?
Well, so we're very confident that we're going to be able to work with the Senate. I mean, our team has been, our administration has been engaging with Congress ever since day one. And so we're continuing to meet with the members of Congress, meet with House and Senate leadership, and work with folks on the Hill to really create a better healthcare system. I think that's something that we're doing this time around is we're really letting it work itself through the process. There's not going to be any behind closed doors meetings. This is going to be a very open process where the American people can feel confident in their government, and that's something that
no kind of pass it to see what's in it kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So we're actually going to make sure that the American people are fully aware of everything that's going on.
How many people will lose coverage? Can you give me an accurate figure? Some say 24 million, some say 6 million. Do we know how many people will lose coverage?
So it's hard to tell for that, but what we're doing is we're working through, the process to ensure that people have care. I think it's important that it's not just about having coverage, but having the care they need. I mean, you can go and say that you have health care coverage. Does that give you the care that you need? Is that what's affordable for your pocketbook? Is that what's going to be better for your taxes at the end of the year? And so at the end of the day, it's about ensuring that people have the care they need rather than the coverage.